have us today. So thanks. First time I think Holland will hear of us.
Okay.
First time.
Well, we bid you welcome. Jasmine, and you are the president of the organization.
Yes.
Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Tafika Bissassar. Jasmine, I'm the president of Bonaire Human Rights. At the moment, Bonaire is in a very dire need of support from the international community. But there is huge human rights violations that is happening on our island, and it is very worrying. We have been subjected to many human rights violations. One of the main one is that our border was open, or three of them. Our border was open in 2010, and there was a great influx of European Dutch coming to Bonaire. Bonaire become a minority on their own island in less than 12 years. The other violation is the health care. We have not sufficient health care on the island. There's no intensive care, not substantial enough, or people have to go to different other islands and even to Colombia for medical treatment. After 2010, a lot of things changed. One of the things is our schools are being now taught by instructional Dutch, when before our kids were being taught in Papimento, and that is every human rights violation. Every child has a right to speak in their own language. So.
If I may, Jasmine, you mentioned when we spoke a few days ago, you mentioned that because what we were taught in the news when the relationship between Holland and the islands changed, what we were taught, what we were reported on by the mainstream media is that Sint Maarten and Curacao got the same status like Aruba did in 1986, and Bonaire, Statia, and Saba became provinces of the Netherlands, just like you have provinces here. But you said, no, that's not the case. That's not what happened. Could you explain that?
Yes. I'll let Mr. Finis explain what kind of status we are in today.
Yes, no, that's what they're saying in the news and what you read in the papers, or what they say. We are a province, or we are a gemeente, a municipality. Mm-hmm. That's not true at all. That is just propaganda. I will say only propaganda. We have been following abroad. The real news is that Bonaire was degraded to the lowest possible state system you could administrate of territory, and that is openbaar lichaam. Openbaar lichaam in the Dutch law is the lowest possible you can give to let's say you give it a piece of land or a group of notary, things like that. So we have been degraded from an autonomous...
A group of what?
Notaries. They organize themselves. Mm-hmm. They give him some kind of lichaam to administrate them. Mm-hmm. And of a piece of land here in Holland, they want to start a development. Mm-hmm. They give that status so they can administrate it where nobody lives. So we have been degraded to the lowest possible in the structure of legal structure of Holland, from being an autonomous country where we had a parliament who we vote for, who was deciding everything on our island, everything, and we were part of a central government with the Netherlands Antilles Island, where we had 3 seats, where we had a minister. We were part of the decision and the lawmaking. We are degraded to the lowest possible, where we now have no legal representation, no legal voice, no legal power. Everything is decided in The Hague.
But how did that happen? Because from what I remember, all islands had a referendum before 2010. How did they achieve, you guys becoming the lowest rank in the kingdom?
Because it was, I think, a heist of the century.
It was a heist.
Heist, yes, yes. We were being annexed. We were annexed because it happened against the will of the people. The people had voted in a referendum for a direction there was no content to the vote. It was not integration. It was not autonomy. It was nothing. It was an idea that will be negotiated. It was sui generis. It was negotiated with the Dutch government, but international law And United Nations resolution says that people has to decide. This is not a decision of politicians.
And what options did the people have during the referendum? They had three options, right?
They had four options actually, but
four. Okay.
Yeah, but the four options, one of them was the direct link. They call it direct link.
Yeah.
Yeah, lasso directo, direct abandon.
Like what Aruba has.
No, they didn't describe it like that. They said the direct abandon of direct link will be a new relationship where we will not be linked more through the Netherlands until to Curacao. They had a major problem with the central government, they say, where we will have a direct relationship with Holland, and then we will be more autonomous, actually, and also we will get all the funding that was before channeled through the Netherlands Antilles system. So that was the setup. They tell the people, but it was not described as an option because it was not content that will be negotiated. But after negotiation, the people should decide if they want it yes or no. And that where it went wrong. Because when
the four questions, the four options.
The four options, I don't remember all of them off my head now. That's why I...
But what did the people choose? Which option did the people choose exactly?
Direct link.
Direct link.
Yeah. And the direct link
was sold to us as a province.
No, it wasn't sold as province because it had no contents. It was...
it had no contents. Okay.
No, it had no contents.
So they could fill it in the way they wanted it.
Yes.
Okay.
But under the condition, when they fill it in, negotiated with Holland, the people has to decide on it when they finish their negotiations. So at the end, when they finish, the governments finish negotiating, the people has to say they want it yes or no. And there where it went wrong, because when they come back to the people, we should have that referendum in 2010. When the changes happened, we should have had it in April from 2010. That referendum where the question was yes or no, with what they negotiated, if we agree with it, yes or no. But the referendum never happened because our parliament, we vote for on Bonaire, to make the referendum law. Yes, to have that referendum, but the governor of Bonaire, who you don't vote for, that's why we still live in a colony.
He's a representative of the king.
King decided that this referendum is against the interest of the kingdom.
Okay.
Yes, and then he, together with the governor, at the time it was Mr. Todé, Glenn Todé was the governor of Bonaire, together with the central governor of the Netherlands until it was Grootgedrag. They, two of them, has the power to take a legislation from our parliament and they destroy the law. So the referendum never happened. So we, as Bonaireans, as the people who is right of self-determination, decide if they wanted yes or no, were put in a new structure without us having the possibility to vote and say we wanted yes or no. So that's why we are in this structure today. Okay. That's where it started. And so when people say we voted for, no, we never voted for this.
No, okay, I understand now.
And following up, that why we're still in it, we fight, I myself, because Holland's still saying, yeah, you choose yourself. They make the people still believe today we choose ourselves. And I had to fight personally because we write letters, it's a long story. Yeah. We write letters and things like that. But then when it went so far that they say, I had to fight for a new referendum. We start fighting on the island for a referendum to say we wanted yes or no. And that happened. And I end up in 2014 to start a protest that dured about 8 months, day and night.
And your protest was against being an openbaar lichaam?
No, the right of self-determination belongs to the people. The people has to decide. It's not my decision. The people's decision has to decide. So I fight for the right of people to decide. That's my fight for. I cannot fight. I have one vote. That vote don't decide for everyone.
Of course.
So I fight for the people, rightful right to decide. They never decided themselves.
So you want them to have a proper referendum again?
Yes.
Okay.
Then that's where I went in a protest because the referendum was not politically possible in any other way anymore. So I went in a direct confrontation with the whole system. Start a protest that
And this was in 2010, right? 2014.
Because we already were put in the stocks.
Yeah, of course.
Because we couldn't say no, because the referendum didn't happen.
And then you started your protest. How did the government of Curaçao react to your protest?
Curaçao?
Sorry, I mean Bonaire.
No, that's
how did the government of Bonaire react to your protest?
No, the government of Bonaire, of course, they were very upset that the people stand up. Because still now the people think that everybody should keep going along, stay quiet, and listen to the politicians. But I said this is not a political, it's a human rights issue. This is my right as a human being, and my own kids also. This is our right. This is international law. This is higher than the politicians. So then we start. They were very reluctant to us, but then we didn't care. Even the governor, after about 2 months, we were on the streets because we stayed there day and night of 24 hours. I stayed there and then the pressure got so high on them that they wanted to remove us. They gave a police, and they gave me a letter that I have to vacate the place within 48 hours. Otherwise, I'll be taken away with force by the police.
Yeah.
And then we make a call on the people that the governor wants, because we are passive. We're not passive. And
not aggressive.
Human rights.
Yeah.
Human rights is that you have the right your expression.
Yeah.
Right.
Freedom of expression.
And that is the right to have a passive demonstrations. And it was passive all the way. So because I was by myself, and some people helped me.
How many people did you have with you?
We did a walk around the island first, with about 13 people.
Okay.
But then during one day, but I said I will, and then we come to the government office after one day and night walking through the whole island with pressure to all neighborhoods, and we tell the governor we have a request from the people, of a demand of petition from the people, because we collect about 4,000 signatures on our island.
Yeah.
You know how much 4,000 signatures represent on an island with
exactly. But we're going to get to that just now. We're going to get to that point just now. So you had your protests. You had a lot of people backing you up. So I wanted to ask, because you already said how the government reacted, but how did the community react? Did you get the backing from the community?
Yes, we call on the community, tell them that the governor want to remove us from stop protesting.
Yeah.
That morning, the whole island come out. The whole island came out and filled the whole square of the circulation. And then the police came without guns.
Without guns?
Yes, because they also sided to us, because we did.
The police sided with you as well?
Because we're not doing nothing wrong. We just standing for our rights passively. And then at the end, the governor, with all the pressure of everyone, he meet with us. Then he said he will give us, leave us for now here. He said, no, governor, listen what you say for now. So when the people leave later, you will remove us. Then in front of everybody, he has to withdraw. He said, no, you will stay. We will stay in communication.
Okay.
So that's where they withdraw the power to remove us. And everybody went home, and then we stay protesting.
Oké. Toch wil ik voor de luisteraars even kort samenvat. Wat gebeurt er daar in Bonaire op dit moment?
Wat James inderdaad vertelt is dat in 2010 is de referendum. In 2010 hebben de eilanden andere staatkundige relatie gekregen met Nederland. En de eilanden hebben een andere staatkundige relatie gekregen met Nederland. En er waren referenda op alle eilanden. En het referendum op Bonaire is niet gegaan zoals het hoorde te gaan. Men heeft het eiland niet gegeven. Het eiland heeft niet gekregen wat de bevolking om gevraagd heeft. De bevolking wilde een rechtstreekse relatie hebben met Nederland, maar het werd uiteindelijk niet uitgevoerd, mede door een besluit van de gouverneur van Bonaire. James heeft zich daar tegen verzet. Hij heeft een protestactie gestart. Het eiland stond ook achter hem. Zelfs de politie die tegen hem werd opgestookt, stond achter hem. Ze kwamen wel naar het protest om het in goede banen te leiden, maar ze kwamen zonder hun wapens. En dat is waar we dus nu zijn. Wat ik hem dus nu wil gaan vragen is, wat is het resultaat van zijn protestactie? Ik weet het al, maar ik wil langzaam maar zeker leiden naar wat voor gevolgen heeft het nu voor Bonaire. Dat Nederland zich niet aan zijn woord gehouden heeft waar het aankomt op de staatkundige relatie tussen Bonaire en Nederland.
Oké, goed. Dan weten we gedeeltelijk waarover het gaat. Voor de luisteraars die niet de taal machtig zijn. U heeft het een en ander gehoord wat er daar allemaal in Bonaire gebeurt. We gaan door.
So James, your protest initiative, there were a lot of people from Bonaire who backed you. Even the police backed you. The governor didn't intervene as hard as he initially wanted to. How did you guys then get to work together, you and Jasmine?
Well, before that, in 2005, Mr. Finis and I built a children's playground.
Oh yeah,
together.
you told me that.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. So I'm originally from Guyana. So when I came to Bonaire, there was no playground on the island, and I thought that there should be a playground.
When did you move to Bonaire again from Guyana?
In 1998. And in 2000, I recruited a few people. We got the land from the government that was supposed to be a graveyard, and we instrumentally, Mr. Finis, who wrote the project, was 13 of us. At the end, less than a year, all the 13 people left, so Mr. Finis says he will stay and help me write the project. We got the 500,000 guilders, and we got the land from the government, almost 3,000 square meters of land in Central next to the hospital downtown, and in that we built a children's playground. And that's where I met Mr. Finis. He helped me build a children's playground, which was quite needed. There was no playground for 20 years before we actually built that playground. The last playground was 20 years before that. The government made it into a car park. So a children's playground was not an important part of the island at the time, and I thought that was wrong. And because I came with 4 children, I decided to work. So that's how James and I met. James is
And he was a banker back then, yeah.
Yes, he's a banker.
Okay, and so you guys met. You were able to get the playground erected in Bonaire.
Yes, in
it's
less
the
than 6
biggest
months.
playground you told
Yes.
me in 6 months.
Yes, I think it's one of the biggest in the former Nelson Tilly's Island, if you look at it like that.
And you guys started working together. You were not really into human rights back then.
No, we were actually no, we were not in human rights at the time. We have a foundation called We Dare to Care Foundation, and that foundation built the children's playground.
Okay. I'm trying to also get some other people to join in with us on Facebook.
Great.
So that's why I was doing that. So you started the playground, and then you decided to join in when he, protested against the new relationship that you were forced into.
Yes, actually, it was reluctantly I joined because most of the people on Bonaire, even his family, were not supportive of the right for him to stand up and protest. Because Bonaire is a small island, it's difficult to stand up because everything is connected. The people are scared of speaking out. The islands was about 9,000, 10,000 people, and they all mostly were working for the government offices. So, and politically, it was not. His family, most of the people didn't want to have political problems, so they didn't support him. And I thought it was appropriate to support him because they weren't supporting him.
Okay. And so you started your organization, your human rights organization. And what I found intriguing, what I found very interesting and very, it spoke a lot to your willingness to go as far as needed, is that you haven't been home for hundreds of days.
Yes, we have been away for 536 days in a span of 2 years. Yes.
Doing what?
We are lobbying, explaining the case of Bonaire and promoting the report that were made by UN experts about Bonaire and what went wrong with Bonaire. And we met with leaders in Latin America and the Caribbean, Mexico, and every part of the South American countries. So we actually had to make a step out to have international awareness.
And you've even been to Suriname, right?
Yes, we went to Suriname, where the 43rd CARICOM meeting was held in 2022.
Okay. And
Yes.
what have all your initiatives to bring more awareness? What have they brought so far?
Well, we met with your president more than once. We met with
Which
your
one of them?
president, the present president,
Santoki.
Santoki. Yes, we met with Santoki. He had private meetings with us, and he understood our situation very well. We had more than one meeting with him.
And but you've had meetings with him. You've had meetings with other leaders, political
Yes.
leaders as well, but also civil society, I
Yes.
assume.
Yes.
And then you ended up in Geneva. And was it your first time in Geneva?
Yes,
It wasn't
it's
your
a-
first time at the UN.
No, it wasn't our first time in
How
the
did you
UN.
end up at the UN?
After the referendum, when 66% of the Bonairean rejected the structure that we are in now, that's what James was fighting for, a referendum, and then they give the referendum. In that referendum is the 18th of December 2015, and in that referendum, 66% of the Bonaireans rejected the structure
Voted
that we are
no.
in now.
Yeah.
And it was not recognized, and so Mr. Finnis decided that we should do a fundraising drive where everyone make a donation, $1, $2. We made a civil society drive, and there we got the funds to hire expert, and with that expert, 3 of us went to the United Nations, and we spoke in the United Nations at the Decolonization Committee on the 21st of June in 2016.
Okay.
That's the first time we went to the UN.
Okay. So you've been at this for a while.
Yes.
So, in the meantime, the new status caused an influx of people. You had 4,000 people who supported your initiative, and that was a lot of people for Bonaire status. How many people does Bonaire have in total back then, before 2014? How many people used to live in Bonaire?
Around the time was about 10 to 12,000 people.
Okay.
So at the time, 40,000 represent about 20%. So that in Holland, that means about 6 million people. So can you understand 6 million people sign a petition, what will happen here? But because Bonaire, you never heard about it, maybe today the first time, you will never hear about it if you didn't come to Europe today and speak about this in your program. Thank you again. So this is our reality, because we are saying they will just neglect you, your rights.
Yeah, that's what they do. But 4,000 people signed your petition, and that's 20% of the local population. And that didn't bring the results that you wanted then. They didn't change the status then. So so in the meantime, what happened because the status wasn't changed? What happened with you? What happened with the population of Bonaire? What happened with taxes were raised? I understand.
Actually, what happened, people won't understand it in this civilized world today, because everybody thinks we live in a post-colonial status, that there's no colonies anymore. No, we will return to full colonial status. That means first thing you do, you lose all your power as a people. If you pay taxes. Yes, that is our first duty as humans in a society, pay taxes, and then you have rights. You have right to democracy, you have rights to accountability, and you have to participate in how the taxes will be. That is your human rights, and you vote for that. So we lost that. So Bonairean taxes were raised to Dutch standards, so we pay as much tax pressure as the Dutch here. But we have less or half the income that the Dutch here have. But our taxes will rise also not only because our islands, we have land. We inherit land. That's the only thing we have, because we don't have money. But we are rich because we eat. We are from an island. We know how to eat and live. But we have land, and we build our own houses. We build our own houses together with friends and we do that. That is how we raise
That's
our
how we live.
islands. Yes, we live. Build.
Yeah.
And then what they did, first thing what happened, they raised those taxes, our property taxes and land taxes. They raised them not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times, because if you raise the tax as a government 2 times, 3 times, then you won't win an election, right? So because we don't have democratic power, we don't have democracy actually, if you say, they raised the taxes to 500 to 1,000%. So people
500 to 1,000% increase of your taxes.
So if you was paying 100, you have to pay about $1,000 tax now.
In taxes
Yeah, so
on property and
yes, and they introduce also property tax, meaning if you we built let's say apartment, because our pension is not at the height of Europe.
Yes,
so
of course.
No, you don't have the same social benefits as in Holland. You don't have those things because we are special, they call us, and they annex us on the special conditions.
Yeah.
But these taxes are at their level, and they collect all the taxes, and they don't account for them. Till today, there's no tax report on what we pay tax for the last 12 years.
And then I have a question, right? If I pay that much in taxes, I expect the infrastructure to be up to standard. I expect to have a train system or a tram system, a proper transportation system that takes me from left to right. I expect certain things to be, to be able to pay certain things. I expect my salary to be at a certain level to be able to pay those taxes. Did that happen in Bonaire as well?
No, not on the social benefits that you enjoy here in Holland. None of them was introduced, only the tax part. And those,
so they increased the taxes, but they didn't do anything else?
No, those things were keep at the same level. To what it means that our people, let me tell you what happened to our people, the first time fall in real poverty. For the first time in our history, we get 3 food banks. First time in our history, people that we know was lining up in food banks.
To get
and
food,
our island, we are very proud. We never asked nothing because we together figured out all our lives and we were happy.
Yeah.
Now they don't have that shame anymore. They're lining up in the food banks. That is what you won't hear.
Just one thing, the money, the tax money goes to the coffers of Holland,
Exactly.
not of the Bonairean.
But that's what I always explain to people. Because in Suriname we used to have that same thing, so they say, the colonial structure, because the colonies were what they call winggewesten of Holland. Everything that's produced on these colonies is in benefit of Holland. You're no longer a colony, so what you produce on your island, what you produce in your country should be in your own benefit. So that doesn't happen. All the money that's levied in taxes on the islands, on Bonaire, comes straight to Holland.
Yes.
Not to Bonaire,
Yes,
not in the benefit of Bonaire.
Yes, and when it returns as Dutch money.
Yeah.
Yes, they send it back and say, we're helping you.
Yes.
That is the...
We're helping you. What are they helping with?
No, they said we're helping you with the money you take from you, and they give a part
like
of it back.
Development aid, ontwikkelingshulp.
They said it, but they take all of them for you and send part of it back just to pay the running cost of the government.
Yeah.
And then say it's Holland's money.
Yeah.
But your money, they took all of it already. So this is the reality we live in on that Bonaire.
I think Norman wants a little translation again.
Ja, graag. Maar wonen veel Nederlanders daar.
Daar gaan we dus nu naartoe.
Okay.
Naar dat punt gaan we nu.
Ja, we hebben 15 minuten.
Oh, okay. We only have 15 more minutes. It's a very interesting talk, but we only have 15 more minutes.
Okay.
Maar heel snel vertaald, door de status die Bonaire nu heeft, de status waar ze niet om gevraagd hebben, is het eiland, zijn de bewoners van het eiland, de oorspronkelijke bewoners van het eiland, in problemen gekomen. Onder andere is de belastingen zijn naar het niveau gebracht van Nederland, terwijl mensen niet verdienen naar het niveau van Nederland. James vertelt heel tergend dat voor het eerst in de geschiedenis van Bonaire mensen naar de voedselbank moeten. Ja. Mensen, heel trotse Bonaireanen, moeten naar de voedselbank om eten te gaan vragen. Ik zal het geen bedelen noemen, maar dat is een van de dingen die heel tergend is. En dat brengt me dus naar het andere punt, dat dus voor mij heel interessant is. Want ondertussen, in the meantime, James, there were 10 to 12,000 people living in Bonaire before 2010, 2014. And what has happened, what has been the influx? Because the new status makes it easy for everybody from Holland to just move to Bonaire and come and live. Yeah. Has that happened, and how has that happened?
That is the main reason I'm here.
Okay.
That was the main reason we had to go out of our island to seek international attention and support, because ourselves cannot do nothing with that. It's just laws are imposed on us, policies are imposed on us, and that come from higher hand, from The Hague, and nobody can do nothing about it. We have no vote. The 150 votes in The Hague decides on us. Yeah. But anyway, going to that means that...
Even tussendoor, dus het land wordt systematisch overgenomen.
Het land is systematisch overgenomen.
Het is al overgenomen.
Yes,
het is overgenomen.
It's already done, yes, and that is what brings us here, because that is the first thing we noticed, that immigration rates with about over 400%, meaning
400%.
So today our population doubled in 10 years.
The population of the island doubled.
But not with returning Bonaireans, with Bonaireans, that we have Bonaireans.
Yeah, because that also happens. I'm quickly going to jump in there. That also happens. People leave because they can no longer afford to live in their own island.
That is the systematic displacement. We are systematically displaced.
Yeah.
So the one will leave.
Yeah.
The death rate exploded. Over 60%. The people die every day before we're diving. So these are topics that, but with the result,
people lost their homes. People can no longer afford.
For the business, everybody lost the businesses,
yeah.
and at the end, what it means that they was not publishing these statistics, because all the statistics were taken over by Holland, and we kept saying, "Hey, this is happening," and they called me everything on the island because I was speaking up against it.
Yeah.
By the group of people who control the islands, you know who they are. They have the media, they have everything. Then this the news you hear here, but at the end, in 2017, when they first published the statistics, then it was CBS, Central Bureau of Statistics, that we fall below 40% of the total population. And
the local Bonaireans are now 40% of the population.
By 2017.
2017.
And the predictions was by 2030, we will be less than 1/3. But last year, in September, the governor, there are articles about it, what they're saying that I can send you that you can read, that they announced that we already reached 32% of the population.
So 70% of the population is Dutch.
Yes.
Is other people.
Other people.
Also Dutch.
Mostly
Dutch because they are the most immigrating now.
And they can vote in 90 days.
They can vote in 90 days. And what I want to say,
they can vote in 90 days in the European.
No, in local elections.
Local elections.
Yeah, in 3 months they vote in elections. So we don't have democratically nothing, but what I want.
So they can basically vote you out.
Yes.
Yes, but not only that. What I'm trying to say is that we are 7 years ahead of the predictions. In 2030,
exactly.
We would be 1/3. Today, we are already less than 1. So in 7 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, what will happen with us? That's why this is very major what we're going through.
What is this doing?
We will disappear. That is at the end of this thing. If nobody interfere, nobody hear us.
What is this doing to the local population? Because you're only 30% of the population at this moment. How about property ownership? Have a lot of properties been bought by these Dutch people who come in now? Do you still have access to your beaches? How is that? What is happening there?
Everything we know about apartheid, right? That word. That is what we're living in now. That's a hard word, but it can describe everything. That same structure we have in the beaches, the hotels, the counting. They say this should be open, but you can be open because they put a gate and then you have to enter. So our people are pushed out of everything they had. So the access to them have become problematic. You are being discriminated on your own island now. That you understand.
Yeah.
So it's not the land. The land, for example, a quick note that you understand. Island Bonaire, when slavery was abolished in 1863, 5 years after that, the Dutch government divided the island in seven big plantation properties and sold it in an auction. So a big part of our island, biggest part of our island, is being sold to private slave owners and things before. So what happened now? 2020, one of those plantations was sold to a Dutch millionaire.
Okay.
Yes, and there's a lot of it. And you know how big that plantation is? It's bigger than Seba and Sint-Eustatius. So that is our situation, that we, by nature, should have land, but it's not ours too. So this is a very high-level situation going on there, and it's under the radar. Nobody knows about it.
So you're here now. You were in Geneva at the UN, and you called for attention to this problem that you're facing. You called for attention to this new form of colonialism that you're facing, this new form of apartheid that you're facing. How has Holland reacted to your activity? Because you told me some stories a few days ago about what you personally went through when you started your protest. You were attacked. How is the world responding to you? And that's the most important question. What can we do? What can the listeners do to assist you in your plight?
Okay, well, just to know that we are working on the trajectory to relist Bonaire and the non-self-governing territories of the United Nations. What that means is we'll be protected like the turtles, like the corals, like the mangroves. The island will be protected according to United Nations international laws. And
has that already happened?
No.
Has that law been passed within the UN?
We are working on that.
Okay.
On that trajectory. One thing I want to make very clear, that we are not in any form speaking about independence. We are more or less working to be on the list of non-self-governing territories of the United Nations. That means that we will be protected, and Holland will report to the United Nations annually about the development, about the native Bonairean, social, economically, politically, culturally, in every aspect of the Bonaireans' development. And this is a list that, for example, the British have a few of them in the Caribbean. I'll say a few: Anguilla, Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos, Bermuda.
You want to have the same status as they do.
As they do.
Yeah.
Yes. We were taken off that list in 1954, and the Antilles Constellation, we were thought to be autonomous, but it's proven today we're not autonomous.
Yeah.
So we want to be protected under that list. So it's not liberation, it's not independence, it's just putting Bonaire and non-self-governing territories of the United Nations. And the report that we have shows what we are saying was done by UN experts. And that's why we went to the countries of the member states for them to be aware and support, so they can support us to put us on the list of non-self-governing territories.
So we only have a few more minutes. We only have 2 more minutes. I would like for you to appeal to the listeners. What can people do from home to support you in your plight? What can civil society here do? Because I did some of my part. I took you to this radio station. But what can people do to support you?
The most thing the civil society can do actually is be understanding our trajectory and follow us. And we have a
Where do they
website,
follow you?
BonaireHumanRightsOrganization.org. We have a website, and also we have Bonaire Human Rights Facebook page and Instagram. And that you will get information about us, and we would love for you to like our pages, and so that you can follow us to understand our plight. And if you have...
But that's following. What can people do actively?
Okay, physically, actively, if the website have different forms of support, and they can make a small donation to our trajectory, they can do that, or
or they can just share
your information.
The only thing that can help us is that this information will be shared and come to the attention of everyone. That's the only way by history that the Dutch government responded. But when you expose them
What
to
are
the
you
world.
doing in the meantime? When are you going home?
No, we're not going home. We will continue with our mission. It's a pilgrimage to keep sharing this information so that the world know that this is happening now, where we call themselves civilized. We're not. We have to help the Bonaireans, save them. That's the reason we want to save the Bonaireans. If there's no international intervention, we will disappear. Witnessed by everyone today who listen today.
Okay. Well, thank you, James and Jasmine, for sharing your story with us. Ik hoop dat de luisteraars het hebben kunnen volgen. Als ze James en Jasmine en de Bonaire Human Rights Organization willen ondersteunen, kunnen ze naar de website bonairehumanrightsorganization.org toe en daar de informatie van delen. En eventueel een kleine donatie doen, zodat deze mensen door kunnen gaan met hun strijd. Want het is een belangrijke strijd.
Dank u wel. Thank you very much and I wish you all the luck. You can always call on Mart Radio to tell your story, every time.
Thank you.
Okay.
First time in Holland. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
The more you refuse to hear my voice.